Hi, welcome to my home. So those of you who are following me on Instagram may know, but I was in Vietnam for a week. So I actually want to share my itinerary because I did go to both Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh. I'll just tell you where I went and then we'll get into costs and evaluations, what I would have done differently, stuff like that. So if you're interested in something else and not really the itinerary, we're gonna get into it now, you can always skip forward. So I will have time frames in the description bar, and while you're there, please feel free to subscribe. And okay, let's make the first travel video I've ever made in 2 years. I went on the Hanoi side of the trip. I had booked it with a friend, and my friend had booked the tickets. Coincidentally, happened to be the same time that my now partner was also in Vietnam for a work trip. And then I was like, oh, okay, fun. I thought we were booking tickets for Ho Chi Minh, so I didn't realize that we were booking for Hanoi, and I still really wanted to go to Ho Chi Minh, so I fully intended on going to Ho Chi Minh as part of a solo trip endeavor. Let's get into Hanoi first. Okay, I'm also gonna be looking at my photos so that I can explain and just tell you things as I remember them, because it has been a while. Thank you, procrastination station. Okay. So the good thing about Vietnam, especially if you're in Singapore or Southeast Asia, is that Grab is available. And so once you're at the airport, the first thing you do is obviously get a SIM card, or if you already have one, just plug it in. We managed to get a SIM card called Vinaphone for 200,000 dong, is around 12 Sing dollars for 3 GB a day for 30 days. That's damn good, yeah. We went straight to our hotel, which is called Lia Silk Hotel. I have to say, it's in the Old Quarter. I personally love the Old Quarter. I don't think I really traveled outside of the Old Quarter. It's just a small central place where it's, the heart of the city, the tourist spots are there, and it's just a very beautiful place, kind of lost in time. Every single house, it's owned by someone else, right? And so you don't get these big blocks of the same design. All these different buildings are side by side by side, and they're so narrow, but they're so intricate and different and beautiful. So Lia Silk Hotel is situated in a really, really good location, and I will say, looking at the price now, it's quite worth it. This was around 250 Sing dollars, 4 days and 3 nights. This entire place is super well decorated. It's very new. There's a lot of European and also Oriental, Chinese, Vietnamese influence, and a lot of art as well. So it just looks like a very expensive, nice place. If I go back to Hanoi, I'll probably stay there again. The room that me and my friend got, so we were sharing a room, is very standard. This is the view. It's not that great, but it's okay. Everything else about it, in terms of cleanliness, in terms of upkeep, and even facilities, very nice. They have a small infinity pool, and it's on the roof, and at night it's really quiet and nice. We actually rest for a little while more and then started walking around and hit up Beer Street. I don't know what the proper term is, but it's literally right where everything for Old Quarter is. It's not sleazy. It's more you really just chill and drink beer and just talk, and you just watch the cars go by. We managed to find this place where it was right on the corner of one of the busier junctions, and then there was a space on the second floor that we didn't know about. So usually most people kind of sit on the streets, as you can see here, just right outside next to the road. So yeah, getting that second floor vantage point was actually quite nice. But I do have to say, don't bother looking for this place because the food was not great. I ended up actually having a stomachache from it, and even eating it was not enjoyable. I felt it was a bit cold and it was a bit hard. Not that you care about this particular review. I would say maybe get drinks and snacks there, but don't try to have dinner at Beer Street. We also then walked by the lake, Hon Kim Lake, and that's where Ngoc Son Temple is. It's really beautiful at night. I recommend you seeing it in the day, but I also recommend you seeing it at night. The lake is beautiful. It's very, very big. So there are always spots to kind of stop and chill, and benches. And then the temple itself is also so beautiful. It looks beautiful in the day, but seeing it at night brings a different vibe to it. And then for day 2, the first thing we did was visit the Temple of Literature. So the Temple of Literature is actually one of the first Confucian schools in Vietnam. To me, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really cool piece of like Vietnamese history and culture to walk like the very expansive grounds, and we basically bought the audio tour thing, which I highly recommend. Going through the space, I think we spent like a couple of hours at least. Be hydrated, like bring water because it can be quite hot, but it's a very beautiful place and you get to see these like gigantic like slabs. There's so many other like artifacts and like fun statues to look at. This place is just really beautiful. And then I was also asking around for must-try dishes, and my attention had been brought to Bun Cha. I found this online. It says Bun Cha 74 Hang Fort was far and away my favorite Bun Cha restaurant in Hanoi. Open only for lunch, my homestay host highly recommended this restaurant to me as well. It's exceedingly popular amongst locals and has been serving some of the best Bun Cha in Hanoi for over 20 years. I 100% believe it because it was mind-blowing. It was very easy to locate. I literally just typed it into my Grab. Was like, okay, just walk in this like long little alley and the restaurant is kind of like all the way at the back, but people are also cooking at the front, so you literally walk into the store seeing food being prepared in such close proximity, and it's like with real charcoal fire and the light is just shining down from this little alley, this little like courtyard space. So it's just like divine. It was really good, you guys. Okay, so this is Bun Cha, and Bun Cha is a noodle dish, but this broth that you see here, it's a very tangy and fresh light broth that you dip with your noodles, and it becomes this very like refreshing, very tangy, almost like salad like way of eating your noodles, but it's also deeply satisfying. And it comes with like a variety of your veggies that you can just like eat with, and then there's like grilled meats. It's just so good. So I would literally just take a bunch of that rice noodle, which again, it's the best, like most snacky texture of noodle ever. You can just eat more and more and more. Grab a bunch, I literally just chuck it into my broth and just eat it like that. This is the place I would highly recommend you guys going, even if you're like not interested in culture or whatever, you just want to eat good food, go there. From there, actually, that's a really good spot to just kind of walk around. Like, there's no need to really grab everywhere because then you miss a lot of the small stalls. I actually came across this small like pottery shop, and it was just very quiet. It was just me and this like old lady that runs the place. The place is just good vibes. So I actually saw these prints also, and I ended up getting these two pictures because I couldn't choose what color, and the lady literally like wrapped it for me herself. It was fucking cute. And I would also encourage you to walk in the back alleys, so not just where the shop fronts and the main roads are, but also like behind, because there are other shops and other like stalls there also. It's very random. Like sometimes you'll just see a random house and then it's just like empty with 2 chairs and that's a hair salon, and then you'll walk and you'll be like, oh my god, fresh food. Like it's just very fun. We actually walked around like the massage lane. It's one street where like a bunch of spas are. If you feel like you want something a bit more bougie, a bit more like reliable, and like you definitely know you're getting a certain standard, then you can go for La Belle Vie. But I would suggest like checking out the other ones, because after we had made the deposit, there are a lot more availabilities at better price places that are still actually quite nice and a bit more fun, a bit more hip, I guess. After the massage, I had gone back because, like I said, I still wasn't feeling very well from like the beer street snacks. And then by the time I woke up, it was a bit late and I didn't realize that it closed so early. So we actually wanted to eat chaka lavong, and it is this fried fish dish that I couldn't really understand. It's very hard to understand until you are like actually eating the food, because a lot of it is about the preparation and about the immediateness of having the food. So it's basically like fried fish with like turmeric and other spices, and then they add dill. So we had made it to the famous place, Chakalavong, and I was like, oh my god. They were like, no, it's closed already, like you're gotta go. And I was like, no, please. Like I was like, can I tapao? And then they were like, okay. They looked at me funny, but they said okay, and like we just took it back and we ate. And it was very sad. So this was 300,000 dong, like the most expensive meal we've had to date. I think the Bun Cha was only maybe like 50 or 60. So I was very shocked and I was like, wow. And it was very meh. And then I was like, what is the fuss about? Like, why is everyone crazy over this? And then I only recently in Singapore, my partner prepared it for me, IRL, and it's so fucking good. Do not tapao it. It's absolutely something you need to try. It's something that you need to try there. You need to try it fresh. It was greasy, like this was just not even hot anymore, like the temperature is very important, so gotta try it in person. Chakalavong. Ooh, okay. Day 3 is quite fun. We actually booked a pretty full day trip to Halong Bay, and this was actually like part of like the hotel's arrangement. I think they kind of outsource it. So we just took the transport, like literally got picked up from the hotel. They go through like this process of like how pearls are like harvested, how they do like pearl surgery on oysters, and it's just really fun, and like I just thought it was cool. So once we boarded the boat, it set sail, we took some photos, but they were like, hold on, like eat first, because then you get like better view later. It was very like simple home cooked meals. Like, it was nothing to shout about, but it was just very hearty and actually a lot of food. Once we were done with eating and once we were like done touring the little islands, like the more iconic named ones, we actually went kayaking, which I really enjoyed. 45 minutes actually the perfect timing, because they also give you like a recommendations, like go through this like little tunnel, like little cove kind of thing. Like, it's really fun, like, you know. So we're just going through and like taking photos and looking at the structures up close. Like, that was really beautiful. And then after that, we went to visit these like caves. It's basically like a cave that this guy discovered, and inside it's just like massive, beautiful like mineral structures that had been there for like 200,000 years, and like it's just so beautiful. And obviously it's been like primed up lah, so it's a very like easy kind of trail to walk through and like to kind of look around and to just appreciate the views. That was really cool. And then for dinner that night, we actually went back near to the lake, and there's actually like the closest thing you have to a shopping mall over in the old quarter. I don't know what it's called, if it has a specific name. So we went to eat at this restaurant called Khao, and it's Vietnamese steamboat, which actually I didn't find that impressive. The meat was quite tough, but the side dishes were very good. So I feel like you don't have to try the Vietnamese steamboat, I feel. The grilled octopus was definitely fire. The tofu was also great. The main reason why I wanted to go there is because it's very beautifully decorated, kind of like wooden beam ceilings, and it is right on almost like the top floor. Unfortunately for us, it rained, but if it's not raining, you can actually sit kind of like al fresco and just dine in front of the lake, which is very beautiful. The last morning that we had in Hanoi, we ended up going to this place that I wanted to go to called Bun Bo Nam Bo, and Bun Bo is a kind of southern beef noodle, if I'm correct. It's actually very light, so it was perfect for brunch. It's again that same rice noodle with that tangy sauce, and then it's already tossed, and it's like this really nice springy like lean pork with peanuts and like pickles, and you also have this cured meat sausage, and then there's like a non-cured one. Also found sugarcane. Their sugarcane is actually lighter in color and lighter in flavor than the Singaporean sugarcane, so I just thought that was cool. I'm a big sugarcane fan, so I don't know if anyone else found that interesting. And then we had a little bit of time to kill before our flight, so we were like looking around for other places to visit, and there's a huge cafe culture in Vietnam, obviously. If you're wondering why I haven't brought up coffee at all, it's because I don't drink coffee. Obviously, if you drink coffee, like this will be a heaven for you. So we went to this place called Hidden Gem Coffee, and it's a hidden cafe. You gotta go in through a back alley. It looks ridiculous. It's like someone's private residence. You're like walking in, you're like, what the fuck is happening? And then you walk up, and then you can see more and more like decorations, and this entire cafe is just, it's like maximalism at its best, but it's also like made of all these like recycled materials, and it's clearly a very sustainable, like very mindful, very beautiful, like positive space. And it's just very quirky and very eclectic, very different from, I guess, like the kind of trendy aesthetics that we've seen so far. Like, it's almost a bit kitschy. Even the planters for the pots were made out of like old boots and old shoes. Like, if you love like upcycling your stuff, you're gonna love this place because you get so much inspo from it. And the menu was also not bad. So there's also cocktails and alcohol. So I'm assuming that you can come here at night too. Look at this ceiling. It's like they literally spray painted the ends of the bottle, and like it looks like flowers just dangling. It's just so adorable. So that was Hidden Gem Coffee, and with that we move into Ho Chi Minh. I stayed in Calista Saigon Hotel, which I unfortunately do not recommend. Location-wise, it's okay. It's pretty decent, but I would say that there are so many other places with really good location also. I also had a direct comparison because I got to see where my partner stays, right? And she was staying at the Hammock Hotel on the fine arts side. If I go back, I would try that Hammock Hotel because it's also owned by Singaporeans and it's quite a nice place actually. Like, it's definitely for like a young hipster vibe lah. It's quite a reasonable price, around the same. Right opposite where I was staying at Calista, there was this place that sells Quan Mi. So I was like, well, don't know what Quan Mi is. So I was like doing my Google. It's the same kind of yellow wonton mee noodle and then with a lot of spring onions, the most like hearty clear broth, pork and prawn, shrimp, wontons and like meat. It was so good and it was so nice and it was like so quiet also, and it opens until really late at night. So I was eating here like at 10 p.m. The next day we actually went to this place called Bun Dan Drep JP, which is on the corner of a street and I could literally walk there from my hotel. It's so good. It's like breakfast pate banh mi, and so you get this like beautiful flaky baguette. It's freshly like baked. You just know it's so warm, and then you have the pickles that are just like nicely lightly pickled, adding the stuff in the little mini wok. It's like breakfast yolky ham goodness. Oh my god, it was so good. And then you add the pickles and you just slather everything on and you just assemble it. Look at that. Look at how she prepares it. Like, it's so good. As if that wasn't enough. So we only shared one, right? So we got like more stomach space, which is what I would recommend you do. Go with a friend and then split everything so they can try more stuff. We ended up getting this Hu Tiu Mi Tap Cham, this other type of dry noodle. It's more of like a doughy, kind of more like a yu mian kind of noodle, and it has like meats on top, and I can't really remember the flavors of this because I was already quite full, and it wasn't my favorite for sure. We ended up going to get coffee and I don't drink coffee, so I obviously had like a nice little tamarind drink. We were at Lin. Is this really adorable like cafe on the corner of Bintan Market, like kind of further down, like literally 3 minutes away. It's very authentic, it's not air conditioned, and everything is still like being used. Like, it's like an old house come to life, and then you can sit on the roof terrace on the second floor or like downstairs lah, but I like the terrace. And it has like mists and it has fans. It'll keep you cool all day. It's like sheltered all the way out and it's just very chill. So then after that I went to the Fine Arts Museum and it looks beautiful. Like, it's very European, no? Like, it gives a very European vibe actually. Everything about it is just so beautiful because the museum, except for a few galleries, is actually not air conditioned. And it's just very airy and well ventilated, and it's a really vast compound. So it kind of goes almost like this. Like, there's a courtyard in the center, and most of the galleries are kind of like along the sides, and then there's like a connector at the back. So it's just a lot of art, and the art is actually very different and very nice, and you get to see a lot of different kinds of art. A lot of locals go there to take TikTok videos and to take photos, so you'll see people dressed up very nicely. So it's not at all weird if you also want to dress up and take photos. You know what I mean? Like, I went there very casual, like in my touristy like sweat shorts and like a tank top, but I feel like that would have been a good occasion to like dress up and look nice and like just appreciate art and show a bit of respect. And then after that I also visited Maison Marot. It's a very cute space actually. This is a really good spot to get souvenirs for your friends because I mean everyone eats chocolate, and they have very single origin chocolate and chocolate with like fir spices and like lemongrass and ginger, like very Vietnamese flavors. Yeah, so they also have like snacks and stuff, and they have baking classes, pastry classes. Very cute space. This was my lunch. Spring rolls. It was so good. And then after that I was like, let's have some solo trip realness. Let's go get our nails done. This spa place was very bizarre. I wouldn't recommend it. The service for the nails was great, but I had paid extra for like a longer foot massage, and the person doing the foot massage was really bad. She would spend 4 minutes on my right foot and then 1 minute on my left foot, and she wasn't like organized. She wasn't really like pressing hard. Like, it was just like touching my feet. Maybe 10 minutes max, even though I paid for like 30 minutes, and then she just walked away. And then I thought that maybe she didn't know, so then I was like, oh, by the way, I paid for the 30 lah. And then she was like, oh, okay. And then she just like continued touching my feet for like another 5 minutes and then just left. Like, she was quite pissed. And I had also booked a body massage after, since I was in the same place. But then when I was done with that and I walked into the massage place and she was there again, I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. But I will say, walking out from that spa and down the road, I saw this place called Ban Mi Huin Hua. There was a queue, locals were queuing for it, and I wish I took better photos of it, but I just could not because I was eating and I was like just having the time of my life. You just have to trust me on this. It's like this beautiful pate, and then there's like 3 different kinds of ham, like cold cuts, and then like the lightest pickles, and like it was just so good. Oh my god, it was just amazing. Best sandwich I've ever had in my life. Ooh, and then I also went to Bentan Market, and I was staying very near to Bentan Market, so I figured I can just like walk around whenever, but I didn't anticipate being sick. So by the way, this whole time, which is why I'm doing like kind of low-key stuff, I'm a little bit sick still. We ended up like walking around Bentan Market just to look for some food, and it's very interesting because all of these different booths, right, will have their different dishes, but they don't seem to prepare it there. It seems to come from a central kitchen, so I don't think it really matters which corner and like what dishes you try. But I ended up having this really nice snack right on the corner of Bentan Market, where they also sell sugar cane. 10,000 dong or 20,000 dollars. Damn cheap, it's damn good. It's like a snack. We also had a Vietnamese pancake. It has like bean sprouts inside, and then kind of like a thin, eggy, doughy kind of crepe, and then with like prawns and stuff like that. That one's nice. I wouldn't say it's must try. And then later that evening, decided to visit Bui Vien. It's like the fun nightlife place to be. It's so loud. There are clubs and bars basically like right next to each other in this Bui Vien street, and they are playing music like louder than the other, so it's literally deafening, but it's very, very fun. I would suggest like going after dinner and like when you're kind of more ready to drink and stuff, and the party kind of gets started like later in the night. Yeah, that's another fun thing. They're just girls on podiums right at the shop front, like literally right where the street is, like at the side, like little like pods, and they're just like go-go dancers. We had walked all the way to the end of Bui Vien and then back, so we just like ended up trying out some of their snails, and this snail was so good. I don't know how the hell they cooked it like this, but it was like caramelized and like garlicky and like saucy and almost buttery, but not really. It was just, oh my god, it was just so like, oh, so good. So, and then the next day, I'm just gonna breeze through it because it's really fast. So I ended up getting a tattoo, and my tattoo artist, it was just assigned to me, like based on, I guess, what my brief is and who's interested to do it. And she was also so queer, which, oh my god, she's so young, she's 19, she's so sweet. Yeah, and then we also ate at this really beautiful place. This is a must go also. I think it's called Pizza 4P. If you miss Western food, like a nice brick oven, like a really cool industrial space, like it's right next to Bentan Market, very, very nearby. And there are a bunch of different outlets also, but this one was really nice. At night, as I was walking through my neighborhood also, there's this place called Ok Van Cho Bentan, which is like just a massive like sit down place, and they're just grilling seafood and people are just eating there. So we decided to order a bunch of seafood also, not really knowing what's what, but just ordering, and it was fun. If you're into shellfish and if you're adventurous, like, I definitely recommend you try it because there are just so many different varieties to try. So yes, that was basically my last meal. The next day my flight was damn early. I had booked like an 8 a.m. flight or something. Why would I do that? I don't know. It's like I missed like breakfast, I missed lunch, like ugh. So the breakdown of the cost was my flight tickets were $207, and I can't remember my domestic flight, but I'll figure it out. I also changed $600 in Sing. I think I barely used my card except for very big purchases. If you just want to use your Apple Pay, you can, because most places do accept, except for smaller stalls, so you still definitely need to change at least a little bit of cash. The Halong Bay trip was around $140, and like I said, the hotel added together was around, I would say, $500, so that was 8 days and 7 nights, I think. I would say it's quite worth it. I really, really enjoy Vietnam. The food is ridiculously good. It's very unique. The flavor profiles are just like out of this world, and people are very nice. Even though I can't speak the language, I can't even really understand it, I tried. It's always okay to just gesture and to speak slowly or to use your Google Translate. And I realized that I haven't been struggling to get around at all. Like I said, I can book my Grabs, and like it's just fun. It's fun even for someone who an inexperienced solo tripper. I would highly recommend you try it out. Also because Vietnam as a country is very young. I think like over 65% of the population are like in a working age, which keeps everyone very like lively and very young, and therefore you have a lot of like nightlife, you have a lot of like 24/7 cafes, you have a lot of very fun hipster concepts. Yeah, they're just a lot more original with their concepts, I feel, and they're just the craftsmanship, the architecture, like everything is just very beautiful. So yeah, if you're interested in arts, culture, food, definitely you'll love Vietnam. So yeah, that was my Vietnam trip. I hope you guys found it helpful. It's been going on for a really long time, so thank you, and see you soon. Subscribe and stuff. Bye.